Scott Bessent just told Congress what to build. However, someone already built it. The first week of March, crypto Twitter, celebrated as the Treasury Department under Secretary Bessent, published a 34 pages report to Congress acknowledging lawful use cases for transaction mixing. However, almost nobody read past page 8, and what comes after page 8 changes everything. Mandated by the Genius Act, Bessent's Treasury spent months on the report, considering 220 public comments, extensive industry consultation, and enforcement data. The result is one of the most granular US government blueprints for digital asset compliance architecture ever published. And here is what matters. The word that dominates the report's 34 pages is not privacy, it is identity. While crypto Twitter was still celebrating the mixer paragraph, the substance was further down in section 5. The Treasury Department specifies with unusual technical precision the infrastructure it considers necessary. We are talking about zero-knowledge proofs for credential verification, on-chain mechanisms that gate execution on identity attestation, cryptographic identity resilient to generative AI attacks. And it goes further. The report formally recommends that Congress legislate funding for digital identity development, that the Treasury issue guidance on verifiable digital credentials for customer identification, and that interoperability with European regulatory frameworks is pursued as a policy. The mixer paragraph was merely a concession. The blueprint is in section 5. Now, here is where it gets really interesting. This leads the report to recommend both expanded blockchain surveillance and digital identity infrastructure. Yet it treats them as parallel tracks and does not appear to recognize the structural relationship between the two. Think about it. A public blockchain without an identity layer offers pseudonymity and full transaction visibility. That combination produces a compliance environment where the only available tool is universal surveillance. But introduce an identity layer and the compliance logic inverts. Verified participants transact with genuine financial privacy precisely because their legitimacy is already established cryptographically. Monitoring is pushed to the unified periphery, and that is exactly why identity does not constrain privacy. It is actually the very precondition for it. Bessent's Treasury Department has simply not connected the dots yet, but the fact that his team devoted substantially more ink to digital identity infrastructure than to mixer policy suggests the gravitational pull is already there. Beyond section 5, the report further recommends new financial institution subtypes under the Bank Secrecy Act, a 6th special measure under Patriot Act section 311 for digital asset transmittals, and AML obligations for DeFi protocols with centralized governance. Taken together, these measures establish a compliance threshold that effectively favors identity at the protocol level, as retrofitting makes it harder, more expensive, and more fragmented than what is achieved with the efficiency and architectural coherence of native protocol level identity. Once regulators define AML obligations at the protocol level, identity native infrastructure becomes the path of least resistance and the only architecture that scales compliance without scaling surveillance. Concordium, founded by Lars Seier Christensen, has been operational with this very architecture since launch. Identity verification at wallet creation, zero-knowledge privacy, credential-gated protocol-level functionalities, cross-border identity provider interoperability. Bessent's Treasury is asking Congress to allocate taxpayer funding to build what Concordium already provides as permissionless, decentralized infrastructure. From Vitalik Buterin's advocacy for zero-knowledge identity to Charles Hoskinson's insistence that privacy and identity cannot be separated, defining voices across the industry continue to arrive at the same architectural conclusion. Scott Bessent's report is simply the most authoritarian convergence on Concordium's architecture yet. The infrastructure exists. The question is whether the industry recognizes it before the regulatory framework forces the issue.